Good. You know I'm a little tilted. Hey, shalom, shalom, everybody. Yazoo, we coming back to y'all. Quick little lesson, quick talk, building up our foundational values. Feel me? You know, this one is called faith is a foundation, right? Because coming into this time, hey, shalom, 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 brother. Right? I'm gonna give it a little bit longer, a little second more. Fine Hebrews. Yes, sir. Give y'all a little second, man. But what we here talking about, man, is our faith, man. Faith is what's gonna carry us through these times to come, man. Right? This is why Yahweh Shah told us that we shouldn't store up treasures on the earth, no worldly treasures, meaning no physical possession is gonna be able to carry us through this time. Right? It's not gonna be money, it's not gonna be clothes, it's not gonna be no bunkers, it's not gonna be any amount of cases of water you might have saved up, right? Any doomsday room or doomsday bag you're gonna have. The people that will be saved is gonna be the people that the Most High deems to be saved, right? But the people that the Most High is gonna be protecting through these times are gonna be those who are faithful, right? So we got Hebrews, right? And this is 11 and 6, right? And it says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder to those that diligently seek him, right? So he's a rewarder to those that diligently seek him. But what? First off, rip, we had to say that without faith, it's impossible to please him, right? So if we don't believe that he is, we don't believe that he exists, we don't believe in the promises that he gave to us, we don't believe in the promises that he said that he was going to have for us, then nothing's going to come through, right? Like even with all through the scriptures, none of the miracles that we saw happen through the scriptures would have been possible without the brothers, the prophets, without them believing, right? That's why when you go in the book of Matthew, it says not to lay up treasures here, but lay up treasures in heaven. All right, because another name I was gonna have for the lesson was being building up your spiritual bank account or building up your spiritual credit, right? In these times, in this time of grace, what we got right now, we supposed to be building up our credit with the Most High. We supposed to, you know, the credit system that we have in this world is a little bit flawed, but I'm using it as a reference, right? We're using that as a reference because we're supposed to be building it up so it can be cashed out in these times that's to come, right? Because even when you look at it, simply believing, right? So believing that he's a rewarder of those that seek him. When you bring up the example of Passover, right? When we had to cover ourselves with that blood, and we have the I'm gonna tie it back to the new blood that we had, but I'm gonna use the first Passover, right? When we had to cover ourselves with that blood, right? Or cover our doorways with that blood to cover ourselves from the oncoming judgment, right? We wouldn't have been covered, those who were covered wouldn't have been covered if they didn't believe in what Moses was saying, right? Because he was being the mediator or the mouthpiece for the Most High at the time. You get what I'm saying? So the mouthpiece for the Most High at this time and what we're going to be following, because the last lesson we had was looking for that shepherd, our mediator, intercessor in these times is going to be the Holy Spirit. So right now, what we building up is getting in touch with the Holy Spirit, being able to understand and learn when he's speaking to us, which is really just Yahweh Shah, right? We're just learning when he's speaking, learning when we're hearing it, right? So, because it's going to come times where we're going to have to really believe. You right? It's not gonna seem like it's a way out. You think we in the valley of shadow of death right now? You're gonna see, right? You're gonna see when it's not no food in people's houses, right? You're gonna see when his neighbor ravaging his neighbor house, right? You're gonna see when love starts to wax cold and people are gonna betray their friends for a slice of bread. I got a bug on my screen. I'm gonna let him rock, right? So I'm gonna bring let's go to Matthew. Shalom to everybody here, man. Let's go to the book of Matthew. Right. And we got Matthew 6. Right. And it says 6, what is that, 6 and 9? Okay, here it goes. That's 19. And it says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust does corrupt, right? Where thieves break through and steal, because that's talking like, look, even with people building up they bunkers and all that right now, in these times to come, that's not gonna do nothing for you, right? Even myself, like, we have a generator and whatnot in case of whatever, but in these times to come, it wouldn't even be wise to use a generator. Imagine your whole block is dark and your crib is the only one with light in it, right? That's just gonna make you a target. So obviously the generator is not gonna be what's saving you. It's relying on the Holy Spirit, right? It's gonna be relying on that spirit. Some of y'all, when this really goes down and it crashes, you might not even be home. How you gonna make it back home? Say you on a train when it's time to go home. You know, we just got Spain and Portugal. It was a bunch of people stuck on trains, underground railways and all that. How are we gonna make it? We're gonna only have to rely on faith, right? Because we're gonna keep going. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal, right? So remember when it said the Most High is a rewarder of them that seek him. The rewards that we could get is right now. This knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and more, the Most High is going to use his people to show these miracles through them, right? And I think that's Hebrews, where he's saying he's going to use our earthly vessels to show his glory, just like Yahushua, right? When he was in his earthly vessel, he was used to show the glory of the Father, what he could do as a man, right? Because if he was to just come in his angelic form off rip, it would be obviously amazing, but to show what he could do in the vessel of a man. So in these times to come, you're going to see certain brothers, their powers, their true powers, or should I say the power of the Most High, is going to start to really shine through them. When you see your average brother healing the dead, or should I say rising up the dead, healing the sick, right? Allowing the blind to see, right? That's all going to start to come through. Those are the rewards that we're going to get. And when those rewards are fully manifest, that's going to be the completion of this covenant. That's going to be the kingdom lifestyle that we're talking about right now, right? So let's keep going. And it says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, right? And your heart is really just your mind. Anytime you hear the word heart in the scriptures, you really just thinking of your mind, right? So it says, you know, right, when it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so it shall be, right? You can't think with this organ just pumping that's pumping blood throughout your body. You can't think with that. Your heart is your mind. So where your treasure is, that's where your mind is going to be. Meaning that's where you're going to rely to. That's where you're going to run to. We just simply being trained up to run to the Most High, to have him be our shepherd, to have him be our fortress and our rock and our horn in these times. You get what I'm saying? Because it's going to get more and more and more bad, right? Because a lot of people right now, because there's still people in these times relying on abundance, right? Because most of the brothers right now, even if you don't look at it like that, compared to the riches of this world, we poor in this world, right? We don't have it all. Some brothers don't got cars. Some brothers don't got cribs. You know, some brothers don't have families, right? But you have people that have an abundance of these physical things and they're relying in that, right? So their heart is left in that. Like, oh, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that. But what is that gonna be? What is that gonna do for you in the time of judgment, right? Let's go to Luke 20, or 12, I should say. So you got Luke 12 and let's say this, right? And it says, yeah, so we'll start at 16. And it says, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. So that's these people that are rich in this society, the people that got millions and billions of dollars. These are the same people that's going to try to hide in their bunkers, hide in the clefts and the rocks during these times, right? Trying to hide from the judgment of the Most High, right? And it says, and he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. So you have a rich man who has more than enough. This is where we talk about building up your spiritual credit, right? Because it also says that charity, it covereth the multitude of sins, right? So it can cause you, but this man, this rich man in this sense, is not thinking of charity. He's not thinking of giving. You have more than enough, but you're not thinking of giving, right? Whereas alms or charity will be building up your account. Because also another thing in the book of James, how it says, faith without works is dead. If you faithful, then it's gonna show through your works. It's gonna show through what you do. Your faith, where your treasure is always gonna show through your actions. You get what I'm saying? It's always gonna show through what you do. So us being faithful, we don't mind giving our last, right? We don't mind being smited and turning the cheek, right? Because we got to deal with all this stuff in this society. We got to turn the cheek, right? We got to deal with being smited with the words of the people. You know, the people that call the doctrine foolish, the people that say what we're talking about is foolish. You know, some brothers is literally going to get smited, right? But us being faithful, our works is going to shine through that. So we don't mind giving our last because we know that the Most High can reward us. He will reward us 1,000,000 times fold. So we can give our last. We poor, but we can give to those who are less fortunate, right? Because even in the worldly terms, you can't say we the most fortunate, right? And fortunate as far as possession, worldly possession, right? So it says, I will pull down my barn and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. So he's saying, let me build more so I can have somewhere to store all my stuff, right? And we're gonna go into that, talking about the in the book of Esdras, where it says the sown places will appear to be unsown in that time, right? You go to Walmart, ShopRite, all these different places right now, they fully stocked up. They got water, all the soda, all the Doritos you want. They got anything you want right now, you can get it. But in that time, it's not gonna be like that. That's when faith is gonna shine through. That's when the people who are really rich are gonna begin to show their wealth. That's when the real wealth is gonna show through, right? Now look, it says, and I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. That's what the world is doing right now. Just like how Yahweh Shah said that it will be, these times are like the days of Noah, right? Because people will be drinking, merry, and eating. People gonna be having the time of their life, especially those that have it, right? Even our people, most of our people aren't even really rich, but they still having the time of their life because they're eating and getting fat with the world. You can go to the club every night. You can eat as much as you want because, believe it or not, food is really cheap in this society, right? Even the poorest people can still afford to eat. Food is really cheap in this society. So you can eat, you can get fat. You would think, how are we the poorest people, but we got the highest obesity rates, right? But when I say getting fat in this sense, I mean getting fat spiritually. Meaning you get lazy, you get dormant. You get dormant, you're not staying fit. You're not exercising the spirit. You're not keeping it active, right? Because you laying dormant in this world, right? And it says, yeah, so soul, thou has much goods laid up. Eat, drink, and be merry. So all the people that are telling you have the time of your life, and this, that, and the third, you know, some of y'all savings accounts, y'all got thousands and thousands in y'all savings, millions in y'all savings, thinking that that's going to save you in these times, thinking you're going to be able to fly out to Dubai when everything gets crashing, right? And that's another thing I was thinking, right? On how people of this world, y'all not going to be able to escape the judgment to come, right? One of the main places I heard a lot of people saying, oh yeah, you can go to Thailand and with a couple $100 and be living good over there. But boom, 10,000 people deleted in Thailand from an earthquake. Isn't that ironic? after Yahweh Shai said that there would be many earthquakes in diverse places, right? So that's across the world, where some of our people ran over there thinking they was gonna have the time of their life, right? To go be idle. But you can't escape judgment. This whole world is gonna get judged because it's being put in dominion under the Most High, right? But Yahweh Shai is submitting this world under him right now, right? So you can't run from that judgment. You cannot run from it, okay? But it says, so take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. So everybody that's being merry, having the time of their life, okay, be merry. But Yahweh said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? Right? He said there's no picture on the stream. Oh, that's crazy. Oh man, I hope y'all was hearing me. If y'all wasn't seeing me, fine, but I would hope y'all was hearing me. Golly. Shalom though, bro. Nice to see you here, man. Oh man, that's a little disappointing, but we're gonna keep it going. So while everybody was being merry and getting fat in the spirit, right? They don't even know the Most High is laughing at them. Said we can hear though. Okay, good. All right, well, I just turned the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be anything showing. What are y'all seeing? Is it a blank screen? Is it the logo? Dang. Sheesh. Okay. But we're gonna go, and it says, "Thou fool," right? Oh man, let me see if I can get this fixed. It says black screen. Okay. That's a bummer, man. I'm not sure at all what's going on. All right, I might have to rock out. I might have to just finish the lesson. So, and it says, right? So it says, thou fool, right? Thy soul shall be required of thee. So that means it's time. It's time to meet your maker, basically. It's time for judgment. So what is all the money? What is all the cars? What is all the clothes? What is all the plane tickets? And what is all that gonna do for you when your soul is required of thee, right? And that's what we're doing. We're trying to build up that bank account, because even when you think about it in the worldly sense of credit and debit or whatever, right? If you're building up credit, you're building up credibility to the lender or the giver, right? Just like how the Most High is the giver of these spiritual gifts, right? So we're building up this credit in this time so it can be cashed in during judgment, right? But he's also adding unto us the skills so we can train ourselves up, right? Because these are the things that we're gonna need to be surviving. I'm gonna bring it in Corinthians, right? To show the things that we're gonna actually need to survive, right? Because it's not gonna be water. Remember the Yahweh Shai, he said, a man does not eat off of bread alone, right? But every word that cometh out of my mouth. And understanding that he himself being the word and also being the Holy Spirit is gonna be the one feeding us. He's gonna be the one supping with us, right? So all the things that he's adding unto us in these times are gonna be what feed us in these times. All right. Let's go to what does that say? Well, I'm gonna finish it. It says, so is he that layeth up treasure for himself, right? And is not rich towards God. Okay. And I know somebody Rose said he couldn't see me. But I don't know. Hopefully it changes for the playback or something. If not, it's cool. Right? So you're gonna go to 1 Corinthians, what is that? 12 and 4. 12 and 4. All right. So when you go to 1 Corinthians, right, 12:4, and it says, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit, right? So it's still the Most High giving these things to us through Yahweh Shai, through the Messiah, right? Right? And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord, right? And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all. So different brothers are going to have different skills through these times, right? And it's beginning to shine. Everything is just like how the Messiah said that the kingdom is likened unto a woman that leaves bread to be risen and leavened up over time. That's what's going on, right? These spiritual abilities are being risen up, right? I remember talking to a brother where I was saying everybody's being manifest into their spiritual self, or who they really are, right? Just on the inverse for the world, right? The people, that's why it says love is going to begin to wax cold, because people is going to be becoming the demons that they are, right? And the ones that are truly on the side of the Messiah, the true sheep, the true flock, are going to begin to become who they really are, right? Kings are becoming kings again. The priests are becoming priests again. Prophets are becoming prophets again. And all the spirits that we have are beginning to be leavened up within us, all right? They're rising up, right? So let's go. And it says, for to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. And remember, the beginning we were talking about, he's a rewarder to those that seek him, right? He's a rewarder to those who seek him. And it's not gonna be the treasures of the world that save you in this time. It's not gonna be the treasures of this world. Like, yes, is it wise? Is it prudent to have, some cases of water, in case it goes down, whatever? Is it wise or prudent to have a go bag? Yes, it's always wise. Prepare for nothing, then be unprepared for something, right? But that's not gonna be what saves us. All right. If you look at all these movies, if you look at like Bird Box, Leave the World Behind, it was another movie, I forget where it was. It was all them type of movies where it's just sudden calamity. People are going about their daily life. Some people coming from the gym, some people on their way to work, going to work. Some people are just going about their daily life. Oh, I was on my way to my girl crib. Or I was on my way to the gym. Or I was on my way to go get me a bag of chips real quick. And then boom, it's just like that. So that bunker or all that stuff you had saved up is not going to be what saved you. This is what's going to save you. For one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, right? So that's going to be what's saving us in these times, right? And I think it goes on to talk about prophecy. Let me turn, right? Oh yeah. So it says, to another the working of miracles, right? And it's going to be some crazy stuff that we see in these times to come, man. It's going to be some crazy stuff, man. When I'm telling you the dead is going to be risen in front of some of y'all, man. When I'm telling you, you're going to see the lame walk again, right? And it says, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, and to another diverse kinds of tongues, and to another the interpretation of tongues. That's what's going to be saving us in these times. The fruits and the powers and the miracles of the Spirit is going to be what's saving us through these times. All right, that's what's going to be saving us. Prophecy, meaning we can know what's going to happen before it happens, and it's going to get more close. It's going to get more intense. Just like the bad is going to get more intense, the good is going to get more intense. Like we talk about with these birth pains, right? We're in the birth of a new world to come. Remember, it says Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of the one that followeth, right? So with this to come, what's going to be happening? With these birth pains, when a woman is having a child, the contractions, they start off in the early pregnancy, she might not have no contractions, all right? So that's the old silence that the book is talking about, right? It didn't seem like nothing was going on. Everybody was still and silent. There wasn't a bit of truth out here. Okay, then boom, now it's starting to be a rising up. Then next thing you know, it's catastrophes around the world. But look, with a pregnant woman, the contractions or the birth pains, they get harder and more frequent. So as it go on, they get more frequent and they happen harder. It's more intense. The closer she is to having that baby, the more it becomes unbearable. And that's why the Most High said, lest those days be shortened, no flesh shall be saved, but the days will be shortened for the elect's sake. The days will be shortened for the elect's sake, because these birth pains are going to be so intense. The famine, the pestilence, the earthquakes in diverse places, the wars and rumors of wars are going to get so intense that it's going to be unbearable, right? Just like I was just talking about Thailand, right? Where we see 10,000 people drop out at once, right? We're going to start seeing it by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions. And on the other side, on the inverse, you're going to see the prophets, they're going to be rising people up. They're going to be doing miracles, glorifying the name of the Father, man. So those who will be saved, that's why this is really all, even in the book of Esdras, where he's saying, wait upon me for my mercy, right? Because all of this is mercy. Even in the times that come, it's going to be mercy. It's all just mercy being shown unto people, right? Because when these miracles start to play out in front of us, right, those that deny, it's going to become very clear cut who they are in the spirit. That's why, back to this verse, to another prophecy. So some people going to have the spirit to prophesy, see things before it's going to happen. Most High might give them a dream the night before. The Most High might stop them in their tracks and give them a vision like, no, don't go this way. No, don't get in this car. No, don't go with them, right? And it says to another, discerning of spirits. Discerning of spirits. That's a very important quality that's essential right now, and it's going to be even more important during the times of tribulation, man. Right? That's why John, through the Holy Spirit, saying test every spirit to see if they come from God. Right? Because we need to know whether this spirit is coming from the Father or not. Because if it's not from this Father, then it's from Satan, bro. You get what I'm saying? And it says, and another diverse kinds of tongues, so understanding different languages. All this stuff is going to begin to be manifest again, man. All this stuff is going to begin to manifest again. All right? So where we at? Y'all tell me if we any better with the visuals now. Because if not, I don't know, I might just turn it this way. Let's see. Y'all tell me if anything changed with the visuals, like a thumbs up or a 1 or something. But gladly, y'all can hear me, man. So let's see. We're gonna go to James. Where's James at? If I can find it. Y'all know James a little small book, it be hiding sometimes. Bear with me, y'all. I don't even think I can find that right now. Husky book. All right. So James, where it's saying your riches are corrupted, right? All right. It says your riches are corrupted, right? And your garments are moth-eaten, right? So it's showing to not trust in these riches. That's the overall, right? That's overall, we not trusting in these riches, all right? And even for brothers and sisters who might have it right now, it doesn't mean the Most High is against you, right? It doesn't mean the Most High is against you. You know what I mean? He might be blessing you right now to have your finances in order and be doing a little good for yourself. You might have a little nice car. The whole point is to not trust it. Remember, when the Messiah was walking the earth, they were judging him because he was dealing with the what did they call them? The publicans, the tax collectors, right? Which had money. He was dealing with the rich Pharisees, the chief of the Pharisees, the people would judge them. Oh, he's dealing with them, right? But we're talking about the spirit. Remember, it says that God careth for the small and great alike, right? So he's talking about the poor in spirit. Overall, he's talking about the poor in spirit. Are you meek in the spirit? Are you lowly in the spirit? Right? Are you letting these things that you have attached to you puff you up? Are you letting that think that you're better than the next? Because best believe that these things don't make you better than the next. Best believe that it's going to be people sleeping on the street right now that are going to be having light shining through their face in these times to come. Right? All right. So let's talk about, let's go to, we're going to go to 2 Corinthians. Here we go. So we got 2 Corinthians 4 and 18, right? And it says, now I'm gonna start 17. And it says, for our light affliction, which is for but for a moment, worketh for us, it worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, man. I'm glad I started right there, right? It worketh for us. Remember, we still talking about building up this spiritual credit. We're building up credit for this lender, with our lender, the one who's given. Even though the Most High doesn't, man, when he gives you something, he's not intending to take it back. So we're going to call him a giver for right now. But, you know, the spirit can be removed off of you. You know, when you look at Saul, people like that, right? But it says it worketh for us a far more exceeding. That's where you get the grace. Mercy is not getting what you do deserve, meaning that technically with us all being sinners in this flesh, according to the old letter, we should be dead already. A lot of us should have got stoned. A lot of us should have been out of here, right? But so that's mercy, that we're not struck down immediately, but the grace is getting the things that we don't deserve. It's receiving things that we don't deserve. That's the grace. So it says, so the little things that we're doing right here, right now, right? You could be on your last dollar, but you gave it away. Trusting, remember, Hebrews saying that he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him, and believing that he's a rewarder to those that seek him, right? Believing. So you know that if you give your last, then that's nothing. Remember, I think it's in Proverbs where it says it's an easy thing to the Lord to make a poor man rich. Easy, nothing, snap of a finger. So you giving your last when you on your last dollar, don't even think of it as your last. Because I have trust and faith in the Most High that he will reward me, right? He'll reward me for this. Just like when you look at David, right? When you look at David, when some random man on the byway was cursing him. Oh, David, you're a murderer, you killer, you this and that, it's so much, da-da-da-da, right? All this is wrong with you, David. But he said, and one of David's servants was saying, who is this to talk to you like that? Let me chop his head off, right? But David said, no, leave him. Hopefully the Most High sees this and rewards me for dealing with this, right? Hopefully the Most High sees this and rewards me for dealing with this, right? And going back to Yahushua, when he said, if a man smite you on the right cheek, turn the other one to him also. Because trust and believe, the Most High sees this. Remember, I know your poverty, but you are rich. I know thy poverty, right? But you're rich, because a lot of us, we're poor in the flesh and poor, I want to word it different, but poor in the spirit. I want to say poor in the spirit because we're rich in the spirit for real. I want to say lowly in the spirit. Remember, the earth, the meek will inherit the kingdom. The meek, you have a meek spirit, a humble spirit, right? You know how much humility it takes to have people saying stuff and not always and know that it doesn't warrant a response? But it's another side of it. You're not just tolerating it for no reason. You have to know that you will be rewarded. Trust is a big part of this thing, man. Trust is a big part of this thing. If you think that you're going through stuff for no reason, then it defeats the purpose. All right? Because best believe There's a purpose for all of this. Everybody will be rewarded. Remember when they had the Messiah in shackles, and they're smiting him and all that. No. It was it before? I think it was when they were just taking him in custody, right? And was it Peter? And he's like, shall we smite with the sword? And he's like, don't you think that I can have a legion of angels to shut all this down right now? That's the Son of God right there. He said I could have a legion of angels to shut this whole thing down right now, slaughter everybody on the spot, right? And that's just one of the many temptations that he had to shut down and defeat in the flesh, man. That's one of the many temptations that he had to shut down and defeat in his flesh. Because that's hard. That's hard to have people talk crazy, even dealing with these other nations and how they treat us. Us being a proverb and a reproach, right? Us being a proverb and a reproach. When we know that, and that's basically what the whole book of 2nd Esdras is about, right? 2nd Esdras is like, yo, you didn't give these Gentiles the commandment. You didn't give them the blessings. They're not the ones who received the letter. They're not the ones who miracles were worked through. But you got them dominating over us, right? But the whole point is that even knowing that you're better, you don't act like it. Or no, I won't say you don't act like it, but you won't move in a prideful spirit. You know what I mean? So, what was I at? 2 Corinthians? Yeah, all right, boom. That's good. So we got 2 Corinthians, we got 4 and 6, right? And it says, for God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness and has shined in our hearts, right? To give light of the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh in the face of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, right? But look, it says, but we have this treasure in earthly vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not be of us. And that's bringing it back to the original. Like, it's all about glorifying the Father, man. A lot of us should be just simply blessed for being a mouthpiece for the Father, being used to do his will, and because for real, everybody is being used to do the will, whether it's on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Even when you look at the other nations, they're only doing the Most High's will. But the reason he's using them, all he's doing is using their heart, the nature of their heart, and using them for their will, right? See, Pharaoh, he was already stubborn. He was already a man of pride. He already trusted in his riches, right? But guess what? He said, he said, I'm going to send Moses to him and he's going to harden his heart. His heart was already hard. You get what I'm saying? So just like when it says, and I forget what book, where it says they were given to diverse lusts for the lust that was already in their heart, right? So all I'm going to do is turn it up a notch so you can be used for it. Just like these other nations are only used as what you could call a belt, a whipping tool for us to get right, right? We just got to deal with this for the time being because we got to get right. In the spirit, we've transgressed. All right, so now that's why Ecclesiastes is saying, I've seen princes on the ground as servants and servants upon horses as princes, man. That's why you seeing all these other nations, they got the big mansions, right? They got the big mansions, the newest car. You know what I mean? They don't even got to pay for the newest car. They got a 2025 before it's even 2025. You know what I mean? Horses is really a representation of like a carriage or a vessel, right? So it's saying y'all are not there. Remember, it says, I've seen princes on the ground as servants, but that doesn't mean that you're a servant. That's why I think it's Jeremiah. It says, is Jacob spoiled? Why is he a servant? Is he a servant that he should serve? Because us being the true people, we're not servants, y'all. Right? We're not servants. Obviously, we're serving the Father, but on an earthly tip, we're not servants, right? We're the royalty. We're the true royalty, but we have to see it at this time, right? To get right. And that's why even the light that's going to shine through us is so much greater because we've went through the completion of everything, right? This whole movie, the whole stage that the Most High set, It's all for the completion. He's holding it. He's building up a family for himself. He's building up a group of perfect soldiers who done been through the good, they done been through the bad, and they still gonna come out on top. You feel me? Us as a people, we were royalty at one time. We were servants at one time, right? This is just for the time to be. But I'm gonna go back to the script, right? It says, but we have this treasure in earthly vessels or earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. So it's all glorifying the Father through us, man. It's all to glorify him. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna bring it to wow. We got second Esdras, right? Let's go to 15. What is that? 15 and 18. All right, boom. So we talking about how bad it's about to be right now, man. Because the doctrine got to be complete. We got to talk about the glory, and we got to talk about the bad. We got to talk about the good and the bad, right? But it's still good inside of the bad for us. It's really all light from here, man. It's gonna get worse for the world, but it's not gonna get worse for us. It's gonna be hard times, man, but we're gonna shine through all this. All right. So look. Let's see. Is it 18? All right. Boom. And it says. So we got second Esdras 15. Oh man, and 14. We'll go 15 and 14. And it says, "Woe to the world." Woe means danger. So it's danger coming to the world. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth near, or draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against one another, and swords in their hands. That's talking about this third woe, as it's called in the scriptures, or the third world war, right? This war, that's this impending war. You know, that's why we got this wartime leader, this wartime president. You know, he's real good at getting the people riled up for times like this. But it just said, it's going to say that our people are laid as sleep to the slaughter, man. Everybody's being laid as sheep to the slaughter. That's why a lot of people are even coming to Babylon in these end times, man. Because America's already destroyed. Well, you got to think, why are all these people flooding into this country as if it's not already destroyed? The dollar is the weakest it's ever been. The infrastructure is the weakest it's ever been, right? But they don't even know. They're being led in the spirit as sheep to the slaughter, man. Because guess what? Babylon is going to have the worst destruction. Babylon is going to get it the worst. So, for the sword, meaning violence, and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings or princes. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and the men shall be afraid, right? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, meaning take their goods, man. Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so that's what's coming upon this world. Great tribulation, man. Whereas people is gonna be, it's gonna be back at like the ancient times, man. Kill everybody in the house, burn it, set it on fire, take everything out the house. Remember, even in the book of Isaiah, it's saying even it says men's wives will be ravaged and stuff like that, man. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be dark, dark times, man. Right? So it says, and shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? Even your neighbor is your brother, right? So it's going to be a lot of backdoor. It's going to be a lot of sliming out. You get what I'm saying? Remember, it says the love of many shall wax cold. So a friend not going to really have mercy upon his friend no more. Nigga, I'm starving, right? People don't, what Snickers say, you're not you when you're hungry. You're going to see how these people act when they hungry. You're gonna see how these people act when their kids are oh man. When these people, they got kids to feed and all this type of stuff. That's also what's gonna flood people in to get the mark, right? Because remember, it's problem, reaction, solution, man. It's problem, reaction, solution. What I just read is the reaction. The lack of bread, because we know famine is gonna come. We know war is gonna come. This place is gonna be war torn. People are not gonna have the basic necessities and resources, all right? So it's gonna be a war torn place. People are not gonna have what they need, man. It's gonna be all out darkness out here. All right, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? But look, that's just to show how bad it's gonna be in these times to come, right? And I'm gonna bring it to as yup, okay. We're gonna bring it to Luke 12, and I might end it off right there. No, I'm gonna do like probably 2 more, and then we good. All right, so we got Luke 12 and 22. And it says, and this is for us. This is for the right-hand side on this time, right? This is speaking to the elect. And it says, and he said unto his disciples. It's interesting that he says, and he said unto his disciples, because remember, he even said, I pray not for the world, but for them, right? Because the world already has their destination. The world is the broad path. The broad path is going where they're going, damnation. All right. But he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life. What shall ye eat? Neither for the body, what you shall put on. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment, right? So don't take no thought for that. And all of that, the whole lesson behind that scripture, right? The whole lesson behind that scripture is us training up ourselves in the faith, right? Because after this, it goes into the analogy of the ravens, the birds of the sky, right? The grass of the field, the lilies in the grass, right? They're not waking up thinking about, oh, damn, what am I gonna eat today? Because trust me, people are gonna be thinking what they're gonna eat today when there's no, the grocery stores, it's been cleared out, probably set on fire, they're boarded up, right? But as for the disciples, take no thought for what you shall eat. Because like we were saying earlier in the live, the miracles are gonna be beginning to show, man. Like even with Elijah, man, when he sat down in the shade and he was hoping to die for the scorching heat and all the other prophets had been killed off, right? And what did Most High do? He was using birds to feed them. He cracked open a rock for us in the wilderness to feed us with water, right? Food came out of the sky. He said, we have eaten angels' food. So that's where these miracles are gonna begin to show, all right? So we gotta have faith for bigger things to come. We gotta be trained up in the faith, right? It says, consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouse nor barn. Meaning all y'all that think like even in like the movie Leave the World Behind, where I forget the character's name. It was Kevin Bacon. I think his name was Danny or something like that. And he was stacking up. People thinking, oh, that's the character. Oh yeah, we got to be like Danny. But in reality, people like Danny are gonna be destroyed too. All right? Because remember, see how it says neither storehouse nor barn, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls? Right? How much more does the Most High care about you than a bird? The whole point is that's why the Messiah always told us, he said, ye of little faith, right? There's no reason a bird should have more faith than us, man. They're not waking up thinking about what am I gonna eat and how am I gonna have shelter and this and that. No. It's that trust. That's how you build up the accounts, man. That's how you build up your account. Simply trusting in them, right? Remember, it's the Lord is delighted in those that trust in him, right? It's just like an earthly father, right? Wouldn't your earthly father, if you're under his house and his care, wouldn't he be offended if you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna eat today, Dad? You're just a child. You're like, I don't know what I'm gonna eat today. I don't know what we're gonna eat on a regular day. You're like, what? You don't know I got you? You know what I mean? It's damn near offensive. See what I'm saying? But I'm gonna end it off in 1 Corinthians, man. All right, 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Where's that? All right. In 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, it says, therefore has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. And we got to realize those non-faithful thoughts are still temptations, right? Because the spirit of doubt is not from the Most High. The spirit of fear is not from the Most High. All right, that's not how he strengthens us, man. So when the times get there, when we a little hungry, and you're like, damn, I don't know, I really don't know, man. It might be, no, that's coming from Satan, man. Remember, the Messiah was hungry when he was in the wilderness and Satan was tempting him. He was hungry. He didn't eat for 40 days. He was hungry. So those spirits, that story is literally a direct correlation of who's tempting you when you're doubting. Who's in your head when you're doubting, when you're second guessing. You got to wake up knowing you'll be provided for. And guess what? You will be provided for. Every other time you doubted in your life, like, damn, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. You might have been on your last dollar. You might have been, in just a down bad situation, right? You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. Every time it's been doubt, but look, you're here right now. Fed, clothed, everything's cool, sheltered, right? So we got to keep that same mindset when things get shaky, right? But there has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, for who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it, man. So those that are trusting and having faith in the Most High in these times, we gonna be good, man. And it's not gonna always look like that. That's all we're preparing ourselves for, right? When we talk about the destruction and the oncoming tribulation of the world, we're not saying that for us to be scared. We're building up ourselves so that we're faithful in these times. Remember, it says, for Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that which you are able, right? So if he's faithful, mind you, any kind of relationship, there has to be some level of reciprocation, right? So if he's faithful towards us, and he's not gonna throw something at us and there's no way out, so we gotta be faithful back. For the most, he's providing. So all we have to do is believe that he will provide, right? And our actions will show that we believe, right? On the course up there, right? Faith without works is dead. So we're always going to be showing through our works. All our works through right now is showing our faith, man. But I think I pretty much got through everything on that, man. It's a shame I didn't know the camera wasn't on, but it was good for everybody to come through and hear this, man. But I'm going to end it off right there. Shalom to everybody. Make sure y'all staying prayed up, staying protected out here. And peace out.